Understanding your individual style starts with recognizing what you already know, what beauty is. My mentor spent decades proving that the images we're drawn to aren't random. They reveal who we are and how we should dress. Today, I'm sharing what she taught me about the connection between aesthetic preference and individual style. In today's episode, I'm sharing something from my own training that fundamentally changed how I help women discover their individual style. It comes from a woman who wrote the book literally on using artistic principles in getting dressed. Her name is Carla Mathis, and what she understood about the connection between aesthetic preference and individual style is something that not everybody in this industry is aware of. And Carla isn't just a teacher, she's a lovely human being. She texted me every single day with prayer and encouragement when my husband was in the hospital. So, if you're unfamiliar with Carla Mathis, let me give you some context. She wrote the book, The Triumph of Individual Style, and it's about how to use artistic principles in getting dressed, treating the person as an artistic composition. So, it's not about following trends or body type rules, it's about universal principles of art. And Carla didn't just write about theory, she's worked with thousands of clients over decades doing both style and color consultations. Through all that client work, she put it together that what people like aesthetically is what looks like them. Think about that for a moment. What you're drawn to aesthetically, the images that really resonate with your soul, those are not random preferences. They're revealing something essential about who you are and how you should dress. So I started training with Carla in 2012 through her distance learning program. And when I say distance learning, this was not the online courses that we have today. The style portion alone was about 4 times as much technical material as the color training. These were huge binders. It's a comprehensive education in artistic principles, body geometry, proportion, scale, texture, all the elements that make up a complete style system. So I completed that and earned my certification in style and color from Carla and the Style Corps in 2014. But my education didn't stop there. I actually went on after COVID turned us all into online stylists. I worked with Carla as an assistant and an apprentice, and I did a lot of virtual color palettes with her. This is where I really got to see her process up close because we would both be on the Zoom meeting together with the client. Um, and here's what set Carla apart. Like, I have multiple colleagues who started just the color part and have learned to be excellent um, color designers, color palette designers, but they didn't finish the style part because it's overwhelming. It's so much. But I started with the style training, and then during the whole time while I was learning all the that technical stuff and then all the color, um, it had time to sink in. And the foundation has made all the difference. So my skills in understanding body geometry, proportion, artistic principles are comprehensive compared to what my clients tell me they've experienced when they've gone to other stylists. And that's just because of how Carla has taught me how to see things. So let me explain what made Carla's color process unique and how it connects to discovering individual style. So most color analysts use draping, putting different color fabrics near your face to see which ones how your skin reacts to the color reflected and which harmonize with your natural coloring. Well, Carla does something different. She uses visual favorites instead of draping. And here's how it worked. clients would bring in or send in images they love, not pictures of clothing, but art, nature, lifestyle photography, beautiful things that move them, like resonate with their soul in ways you often are unable to articulate. And then Carla would look at the images and she would see all kinds of things simultaneously: the mood, the technical details. She might look at a grand scenic vista and say, you need to have an element of grandeur in your wardrobe. And then she would look at the colors that were present in the image and understand which of those colors need to go into the client's personal color palette. So she's reading both emotional resonance and technical composition. What she understood and what I watched her demonstrate with client after client is that the images we're drawn to contain the technical elements that are going to look harmonious on us. Our aesthetic preferences aren't separate from our physical form, they're connected. This is where I learned that starting with what you love aesthetically is the most effective way to discover your individual style. Think about what Carla discovered through decades of client work. What people like aesthetically is what looks like them. This is profound when you really sit with it. It means that your style confusion isn't because you just don't know what to do. It's because you've been taught to ignore your own aesthetic preferences in favor of expert formulas. So Carla's approach honored something essential. You already know what beauty is. You recognize it when you see it. And when you're drawn to certain images, color combinations, moods, atmospheres, shapes, that's not random. That's information about your authentic individual style. When you understand proportion, scale, color harmony, contrast, visual balance, and then you learn to recognize these elements in the images you're naturally drawn to, you unlock something that's powerful in using your aesthetic preferences as a map to your individual style. So if you're interested in learning more about how your personal energy connects to color, I have a free guide called the Guide to Seasonal Energy and Personality Colors. You can find the link in the show description or at my website, signaturestylesystems.com. So after a few years of doing what I had learned from Carla, I actually had an epiphany. I think God gave me this insight, and I started inverting the entire process. What if we started with the images? What if, before we talk about body types at all, we begin with what you love aesthetically? I'll tell you more about that in next week's episode, because it led to me developing something I call the aesthetic mirror, um, which I'll tell you more. But I want you to understand where it came from. Carla's fundamental insight that what you love aesthetically reveals who you are. I just took that insight and moved it to the very beginning of the journey, because starting with what you love aesthetically is the most effective way to discover your individual style. Next week, I'll share more about how the aesthetic mirror works and why it's such a powerful experience. But I want to tell you about it real quick now, because you might be thinking, this sounds exactly like what I need, or this sounds like so much fun, because it is. It's a private online gathering where you bring 3 or 4 fun and supportive friends or family members. Each person brings their images that they love, that resonate with them visually. Then the group gives feedback on what they see in the image. We probably wouldn't have time to go through all of them, like maybe one deeply for each person, but it's like a collective brainstorming session that helps you see patterns, themes, and deeper meaning in your aesthetic, in the things you visually love. I guide the process, helping you connect the dots. But here's what's remarkable. The group almost always names specific qualities in the image that end up being the personal qualities of the individual who brought it. It's very affirming. It's like these people who already love and support you are seeing into your soul by seeing the pictures that you love. Everyone walks away with a clearer sense of their personal aesthetic and a pre-built seasonal energy color palette. Cost is $97 per guest, and if you host it, you're free. If this sounds like something you would enjoy, you can go to my website and reach out to schedule a date. So here's what I want you to take away from today's episode. The images that move you aren't random. The art you're drawn to, the colors that make you pause, the scenes that feel like home, these are all telling you something about your individual style. Next week in episode 108, I'm going to share how I took that foundation and created something new, the process that puts your aesthetic preferences at the very front of style discovery. It's called the aesthetic mirror, and it's changed how my clients experience finding their individual style. So here's something simple you can do this week. Find a piece of art or an image that you're really drawn to. It could be a painting, a photograph, a nature scene, anything visual that moves you, that resonates with your soul. I said that before, that makes your heart go pitter patter. Then look in your closet and see if you can create an outfit that captures that same feeling, the mood or the energy that's in the image. You're not trying to match it literally, you're just trying to capture the essence. Thank you for being here for this episode of Signature Style Systems. Have fun being you, and I'll meet you back here again real soon.